Stay tuned for the biggest fish, the hottest bites, this week here on In-Depth Outdoors. With James Holst.
Look at that. Wow, is that an incredible fish?
And the rest of the IDO fishing team. We're headed to the best fisheries across the upper Midwest and Canada. We'll fish longer, explore unfished bodies of water, and go further off the beaten path in search of the hottest bites in fresh water. With Pat McSherry.
All right, what a fish.
And Andy Fiocca.
Wow. Get the colors on this fish.
This is In-Depth Outdoors.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of In-Depth Outdoors. I'm James Holst, and on today's episode, we're headed to Wisconsin to fish with Paul Delaney on Green Bay, and our target is going to be whitefish. Now, we've done this show with Paul before, but he said we had to come back. He's completely changed a lot of the ways he's approaching this very popular sport fish. When we fished with him in the past, we were using very small presentations, tiny jigging wraps, small spoons, and even going to using some very finesse slider rigs on the line. Now, you contrast that to what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be fishing some Storm wild-eyed swim shads. They're swim baits in some pretty impressive sizes when you take a look at how small that whitefish mouth is. So this is one of the things I love about being a fisherman, taking up a bite, slowly evolving with it, always trying to get better. And as you're gonna see in today's show, those patterns that Paul had used in the past, particularly that slider rig, just don't seem to be producing as well, while these whitefish are absolutely hammering these rather large swim baits. So do stick around. We got some great underwater footage that should really bring it all together for you here today on In-Depth Outdoors. The whitefish will come to us.
They will. They should be here.
How long does that rock spine run? I mean, it's miles, isn't it?
Oh, that's right. It runs the whole bay there. But there's certain high spots. Like there's right up in here. It's like 40 feet of water, and then 50 around it. But yeah, we're just right on the edge of this thing. It's 80, 90 feet of water out there, and this right in here we're in about 60, 65.
And you want to stay right on the edge of the rock because of the goby.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they're eating, and I think the bigger biomasses of fish are just kind of using this ridge back and forth. Here.
Biomass, $2 word. I like
Two.
that. So one of the reasons that I was interested to come do the whitefish fishing with Paul, besides the fact that you're a heck of a lot of fun to fish with, was he's got a really interesting pattern going right now, and it's all goby based. You know, these whitefish, I don't know how many years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years, 20 years ago, a lot more of these fish were out on the Lake Michigan side, and they were feeding on freshwater shrimp. Well, the zebra mussels kind of did that in. So they've moved here into the bay, and they're really keying on gobies. Now, the last time I fished with you, I mean, you were just kind of starting to get into the whitefish thing, and you were using a lot of jigging wraps and jigging shads. Days when the fish weren't biting real good, you'd throw down some little jigging plastics. But things have kind of evolved a little bit. You're still using some of those baits, but Paul's telling me he's finding that if you really imitate that goby down there on the bottom, just a swim bait, small one, looks like a goby colors, anything brown or gold, yeah. He's just murdering these fish. And I think one of the things that's got me really interested in this is your understanding of what these whitefish are doing is really kind of evolving and really kind of honing in on really what these fish are doing, and you're being really successful for it.
Yeah, I mean, the whitefish fishing really has grown in popularity out here over the years, and there's no one way of catching these fish. There's a lot of different techniques out there, but it's fun using new baits out there. And obviously we know by seeing these fish feeding on the bottom, seeing them spit up those gobies, even though the whitefish has a small mouth, they're eating incredibly big gobies, So starting last year and this year, we've been using this new Storm Wild Eye swim shad there, and What's so cool about it's amazing how these fish eat the bait. It's not like they're just finessely biting it. When that bait's worked on the bottom, they're actually coming up and inhaling those baits, you know, and that's close to a 3-inch bait, and there's times where you don't even see that bait in those fish's mouths. So, you know, it's neat to do different things, and instead of getting in a mind frame thinking you have to fish them this way, you have to use wax worms, we don't use any bait at all, and it's just a lot of fun. So we'll get these baits down there today, and you'll see how we catch those fish on them. It's a ton of fun.
Well, I know it works. What did you say yesterday? Your group had 120 whitefish?
We had 140 some whitefish.
140.
Yesterday, yeah.
Didn't want to sell you short. That's a lot of fish.
There you go.
Make your next day on the water even better with Airwave Pedestal, the only air suspension system that can be custom adjusted to the weight of the rider. No unreliable springs, no oil-filled shocks to leak. Our patented design utilizes a 2-stage suspension system to smooth out the roughest ride, while limiting travel to an industry-leading 2 inches. This boating season, enjoy your time on the water to the fullest. Find out how at airwavepedestal.com.
From the first time you pick up a tuned-up custom rod, you'll know you're holding something special. A rod not mass-produced, but built one at a time by the hands of gifted craftsmen. Rods like the Precision, ice fishing's most versatile multi-species rod, or the Precision Noodle with a tip so sensitive you'll never fish a spring bobber again. And the Commander, the rod that's never met a big fish it couldn't best. Tuned-up custom rods. Ice rods handcrafted for you and the way you fish.
This winter, set a trap for your next trophy with iFish Pro. Ideal for all species, iFish Pro is an innovative fishing system that allows an angler to use their favorite rod and reel instead of trying to manage the fish hand over hand. There's a flag right there. Complete your ice fishing arsenal with iFish Pro, tactical ice gear that puts the fight back into tip-up fishing.
Look at that.
Find iFish Pro online at ifishpro.com or at your favorite sporting goods retailer.
Oh, there we go.
There you be.
That was one of those, he had it, dropped it back down, and thunk.
Yeah, I've had a couple of them just tip, tip, tip,
Yeah.
tap at it.
You know, and I've got that bigger bait on here, so, you know, they want to eat it head first, and they peck at it, just the hook's not there, so you've got to kind of have a little bit of patience, and they just do circles, they come back around at it.
Sure.
They'll eventually grab it.
This Fusion's fine with the 1/8 ounce, but I think if I was going to go quarter, I'd have to up my game just a little
Yeah.
bit.
Here he comes.
Good one.
He's not bad.
Shouldn't have messed with the Goby,
Oh,
buddy.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you can
That's
see.
a 20, 21 inch fish, isn't it?
17, 18.
You do you. Everybody's seen us film it. They know your game.
Oh, but you can see how he ate that bait. But you know, without having that hook there, they'll come. They want to eat it head first, so they'll peck at it and just have a little bit of patience. They'll come back around. And,
Sure.
Yeah, that's once they get that big single hook in them, it's
Game over.
yeah, it's there. Nice.
Yeah.
Get him back, and that's 2 on the bigger one, 1 on the smaller one.
Yep. Well, mine didn't count. I didn't exactly get him all the way to the top of the ice.
Well,
Bottom of the hole doesn't count.
It's nice to start with 2 different sizes there, see what they want.
Sure.
Give them what they want.
Well, we're fishing in 62 foot of water here, so if we get a chance to get him on the bigger one, we'll fish the bigger one.
Yeah, you know, right now it doesn't seem like there's a lot of current, but that current can get pretty tough there.
Yeah.
So, and that's where the braided line comes into play too. That helps cut that current. You're still going to get a bow in your line there, but you're going to be able to feel those soft, subtle bites there.
So you've got the commercial netters out here taking the whitefish. Obviously the sport fishing end of things has just exploded and the whitefish populations are going up. That's good.
And you're seeing a lot of different year classes, so, you know, reproduction is, you know, definitely strong.
So then how about the Lake Michigan side? The populations out there still decent?
Well,
or?
they're still fishing them. It seems like they're getting better catches on the lakeside further south, around
Okay.
the Milwaukee area.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
A lot of the guys up here now have shifted out here on the bay. They still are fishing out on the lake, but I just think with that depleting food source out there, you know, these fish used to be out in 200 feet of water feeding on that freshwater shrimp, which is basically gone now. And to survive, you're going to have to adapt. And we've had this explosion of the gobies, which isn't invasive, but they have they've been a food source for many different fish, the bass, the walleyes.
Hasn't hurt the smallmouth any, that's for sure. And those things are just huge now.
Yeah,
well, of course, they've always had big bass here.
There's no question about that the size on the bass has increased with the arrival of the gobies. Oh, he's coming at me. Guaranteed he's on that rubber bait.
What percentage of your fish come on that
You
fly
know,
up top?
every day is different. The days when they're not as aggressive, more of them are on that little homemade fly there. Days when they're more aggressive, they're feeding down, rooting down on the bottom there.
Oh, you got in your transducer cord yet?
That's something. You get yourself a different hole. Let's see what I can do here.
You're making it interesting.
We're clear.
Good man.
Here he comes. There he is.
Oh,
on
nice.
that swim bait
It's
again.
like the bigger they get, the darker they get, don't they?
They do. They get that kind of like that copperish, goldish color there. Oh.
Come back,
Oh,
fish.
yeah. There he is.
Well, they're so fast, right? They're lubed.
There you go.
There we go. There we go.
That's another nice one too, James.
How do you know?
I can see.
The fusion's going to make them all look pretty good.
It is, yeah. Those bigger fish have just a different head shake on them, though. Nice one. Let's get that one back and see you, buddy. That's a big one here.
You love your job, don't you, Paul?
24-incher.
24-incher.
It is.
Come on, fish.
Nice one.
I don't want to knock him off in the hole like I did the first one. It's like what? First day on the job?
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Absolutely.
There he is.
They're a good fight on that little fusion rod.
Oh, it is, yeah.
I'm fishing the 1/8 ounce version. That's just that little tiny little swim bait, and if you get a chance here today, if we get a goby, we'll show you what those gobies look like. They're definitely bigger up at the head than they are at the tail.
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of an odd looking little fish.
Yeah, you got a big round head.
Yep. So these little swim baits do a really good job of imitating that bait, that forage species. I'd say he's probably about that 18, 19 inches.
Yep.
Oh, come here, come here, come here. Settle down. Things are going to get better for you real soon if you just hold still. They're so muscular.
There you go.
Ah,
They
perfect. See you later, fish.
He took care of it for you.
Yes, he did. The whitefish, one of the things that makes them really popular is not only you can catch a bunch of them at any one given day, they're really good to eat. I would normally keep a few, but I've still got walleye from Saginaw Bay.
We'll practice catch and release here today, James.
Fun stuff, Paul.
The Lithium Shuttle, only from Markham Technologies. Okuma Fishing Tackle offers a complete lineup of reels for the die-hard ice angler. The Okuma Samar 10 and Inspira 20 are a perfect match with your favorite panfish or walleye ice fishing rod. Both feature a long stem handle that fits comfortably in a gloved hand. Cyclonic flow rotor technology that throws water off the reel to minimize ice buildup. And a drag system optimized for use in extreme conditions. Everywhere, every day, every fish. Okuma Fishing Tackle is inspired fishing.
At Aluma, we make the longest-lasting, most dependable enclosed trailers on the road today. By building quality our competition just can't match. Our all-aluminum construction gives you a heavy-duty but lightweight trailer that can handle your tough hauls. Aluma trailers are engineered for ease of use with you in mind. All backed by our unbeatable 5-year warranty. Work or play, get there with Aluma. We're in it for the long haul.
Proving yet again that the best never rest, Otter introduces Otter Thermal Tech, the proprietary full thermal shell found on every Otter shelter. Beginning with the all-new XT-H hub shelters and the all-new lightweight one-man XT hideout, on up to the ever-popular XT and XT Pro Series shelters that have earned a near-legendary reputation for unmatched toughness and durability. At Otter, we know stopping at good enough is way overrated. This ice season, see for yourself how the best just keep getting better.
Oh, there you go.
That one is just a line just got loose. That's when he picked it up off the bottom.
What's the best time of the year for these whitefish?
Oh, James, as soon as we get here, they're here until the day we leave. You know, it's not a certain time of the year.
You make it sound kind of easy.
Yeah, no, it's the fish are here. There's another one on that swim bait. Not a big fish by any means, but it definitely goes to show that it's definitely not too big of a bait for those fish. You know, and they got a small mouth, but
that's the size of the gobies, though.
Absolutely, yeah. You'd be amazed. I mean, we'll pull big gobies out of their mouth. Get him back and get a bigger one. You might notice on this bait here, what I like to do is I like to pull my knot forward so that when that bait is on the bottom and we're working that, the head of that bait is kind of lifting up. Those gobies sit right in the rocks there and they don't have an air bladder in them, so they can't swim in the water, so they kind of scoot around in the rocks and they dart around a little bit. So when our jigging presentations, what we like to do is just give them little quick hops as opposed to subtle, slow lift and drop. I like to pop, 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 pop. Make it really look like those gobies that are down there, but by sliding that knot forward on the eye, it lifts that head more as opposed to the whole bait being lifted up. There you go. There we are. Oh yeah.
You think so?
I'm jealous of the fusion right now.
My thing is I've lost my last two fish, you know? Yeah. I don't know if I got to slow down my presentation so they get that bait deeper in their mouth.
They're really not taking it hard. Like yesterday, like I said, we had you couldn't even see the bait in their throats. They were just really feeding on them yesterday.
Gaggers.
You couldn't lose them if you tried. You're gonna catch that one, Jay.
This one's throwing around its head pretty good.
Yeah.
Last 3-4 feet. Giving me the beans.
Here he comes.
He does not want to come up into the light. Not at all.
Oh, there you go.
About the size of one of your bigger ones.
Yeah. Not a giant, but a very good quality one there.
No.
Yeah.
That sound you're hearing, that choking sound, is actually the sound of this whitefish being able to vent the expanding gases in its air bladder. If we pulled a walleye up out of 60 foot of water, it'd be dead before we got it even to the surface. But these whitefish are a lot like, say, lake trout. They can compensate for that change in depth without any damage. So that's what you're actually hearing there, is instead of having their stomach pushed out of their mouth like a walleye or a perch would do, these whitefish can just burp. All right, see you later, fish. Now, I was reaching for that chapstick, but I think I'll just use a little of that natural whitefish.
There you go, yeah.
That's good for you, right?
I don't know. That's all personally opinionated. I don't know.
That's that little tiny little swim bait, that Storm Wildlife Swim Shed. Just a little guy. Pretty darn good imitation of a goby. You know, if I could pick a custom color, maybe I'd throw a little bit more brown and gold on there, but it's working.
In-Depth Outdoors, Spot on the Spot ID.
On today's Spot on the Spot ID, we're going to take a good look at Lake Michigan and Green Bay to give you some ideas of where you need to be looking to get on some good numbers of these whitefish. Now, when Paul and I were talking throughout today's show, we mentioned fish that used to spend most of their time lakeside, and that's over in this area, the main lake of Lake Michigan. And what's happened is, through the introduction of some invasive species, you see a lot more whitefish that used to live out here in the main lake now spending time in Green Bay. Now, I don't want to give you the idea that there's never been whitefish prior to the last decade or so up in Green Bay. They've always had a population. They're just seeing so many more of these fish in Green Bay than ever before. And that's because they're keying off the availability of gobies. So we're going to zoom in here a little bit, give you an idea where you need to be looking. So we're right near Sturgeon Bay here right now. And as you saw in the underwater video, it's really important to be on an area where you've got gravel rock boulders that transitions out to sand. These gobies live up underneath the edges of the rocks. So if you're in just plain, clean sand, you're not going to have very many gobies. So what we were doing was we were working along some of these sharper breaks. This is all rock bottom, rock, gravel, rubble boulders. And you really want to be on that outside edge. And by that I mean where you're going to be able to have access to the deeper water. Now these whitefish, you can catch them in shallow water. You can actually sight fish them sometimes in water less than 10 feet. But if you really want to get in on the best numbers of fish, you're probably going to be looking at 30 feet of water or more. Today when we started fishing with Paul, we were actually in 62 feet of water. And that's where these sharp breaks coming off of this reef in this area broke out into deeper water and transitioned into sand. Now, maps like this, the Garmin, fantastic for getting you in the right place, but nothing beats the underwater camera. It'll let you know if you've got your holes drilled in some really big boulders, which can actually be tough because your lures kind of get hidden down there where the whitefish can't see them from all angles. So Paul's recommendation is always, you want to be near rock, not the great big stuff, because it does obscure the whitefish visibility. Get yourself near that transition, which you can easily see with the underwater camera, and you're going to be able to catch a lot of whitefish on Green Bay.
Brandel GM in Aiken, Minnesota's only haggle-free Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC dealer, is a proud sponsor of In-Depth Outdoors TV. Our Brandel value price ensures that you don't have to spend your entire day haggling to get a great deal. And every new vehicle comes with our exclusive gimmick-free lifetime powertrain warranty. Whether you're in need of service, sales, parts, or body shop repair, stop by our state-of-the-art facility in Aiken or visit us 24/7 at brandelgm.com.
Looking for the perfect fishing vacation? Leech Lake, Minnesota. There's over 112,000 acres of water to explore with fantastic walleye, bass, pike, panfish, and trophy muskies. The fishing opportunities are endless. Leech Lake has it all with over 30 resorts, lodges, campgrounds, and hotels line its pristine shores. Plan your trip. It's Minnesota's original up-north vacation destination.
Markham's new pocket-sized handheld underwater cameras, the Recon 5 and 5 Plus, use a 5-inch color display to deliver superior screen detail and employ a combination of dark water LED and infrared lighting to punch through the darkness. The Recon 5 Plus adds a built-in DVR and on-screen display for critical information, previously only available on full-sized underwater viewing systems. This winter, see what you've been missing with a Recon from Markham Technologies, the undisputed leader in underwater cameras.
You know, when we're using our electronics, unlike fishing for bluegills or crappies, where you're fishing for fish above the schools of fish, these whitefish are primarily on the bottom. So you're really not going to see much on your locator. What you're going to see is we're always using our zoom feature, so we're really zoomed in right on the bottom there. All you're really going to see when 1 or 2 fish come by is that bottom's going to raise up just a little bit. So your bottom's going to be that solid red mark, and that red mark is just going to kind of raise up about a foot or so, a little bit of flash of yellow on top. So it's not like you're going to see these big marks in the water column. That bottom's just going to raise up a little bit. Now you know that that fish is right below your hole. Now you can slow your presentation down a little bit to trigger those fish into biting your bait.
Oh, and you did it!
Yeah, swallowed.
Swallowed.
Well, it just went slack. That's right. Oh, that's a nice one. Look at that. See how he ate that bait?
You called it.
Just one of those where I just went to jigging. There was just no tension on the line, and he picked that up, and I didn't feel him pick it up, but he picked it up and created slack in the line there. So yeah, you saw, I pointed out, we saw that fish that was on the bottom. The bottom just raised up a little bit. I just worked that bait, just lifting the head of that little swim bait up there, and line went slack. That fish sucked it in and came right up off the bottom, and you can see he ate that bait. All right, get him back in here. See it. There's one.
This might be the smallest fish ever.
No, he's bigger than you think.
You're gonna wave your magic wand and make him bigger.
It's big, I'm telling you.
He crushed it.
I'm telling you, he's 20 inches.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Look at that.
That could be bad.
He's running. It's a tarpon.
Turtle.
It's a turtle. Why are you reeling up? How are we supposed to get a double? Huh?
I just don't want to tangle.
I suppose you get a half dozen people in an ice house.
You have to be careful.
You get one that's hooking the side, it can be a huge mess. Hello.
There you go.
Yeah. That's a nicer one.
Yeah.
They are a lot of fun on this rod, on this Fusion. You know, if we were catching 25 or 26-inch whitefish, I'd be overmatched. But this little rod can handle these fish no problem, and it makes them a ton of fun. They're such a unique looking fish.
And you know, they're plentiful. Typically they bite pretty good, and Oh, there we go.
There you be. It's got to be going 30 mile an hour out there, Paul.
It's picking up.
10 to 20 mile an hour.
It's picking up. Nothing like yesterday. It was just bad yesterday. But we're good. We're locked in here. We're fine. Not the day you want to be sitting outside on the bucket. Here he comes. Oh, here we go. There we got him.
Got a good one?
Yeah, he's not bad. Another one of those darker looking ones.
You can almost tell by the, I mean, as soon as you see that copper colored to them, they're a couple inches bigger.
Yep. Got that just pinned under that. There we go. That's 2 or 3 that we've had that little bit darker color.
It's the biggest shiner minnow I've ever seen.
Well, we'll get him back in there. Blue. See you, bud.
Like maybe this one?
I hope so.
Just see that bottom just rise and flicker ever so slightly.
Yeah, you know he's right by your bait.
Yeah. When I was first started to fish, when you put that 5-0 smackdown on me or whatever it was, I was jigging too much.
Yeah.
I wasn't giving it enough of applause.
Yeah.
I'm near you. They're just strong, muscular.
Oh!
Finally?
Hammer. Absolute hammer time.
One thing that I think is interesting is how few fish you are catching on that fly up top.
Right.
Because that's the kind of bait that a lot of guys fish.
Absolutely. That slider rig is a very popular rig with it, but we have found that, the bigger fish, we learned on the cameras,
Sure.
The bigger fish are rooting in the bottom, and the reason they're rooting in the bottom is to grab those gobies, and that's exactly what that fish did there. He thought that was a goby, and it's just a ton of fun. I mean, it's not a finesse bite. I mean, we're not working these baits very aggressively, but when they come in on those baits, they're there for one reason, and that's to kill that thing.
Eat it.
And so it's just so much more fun than slowly, finessely fishing these fish. And another nice one. Get him back.
So that brings us to the end of today's show, and I gotta tell you, I don't care what your favorite species is, sometimes it's fun to just go out there on the ice and catch a bunch of fish. Now, we did not count how many whitefish we caught during the course of the day, 40, 50, I have no idea. It was a ton of fun. And it was really interesting to me to see how this adaptation of presentation has really paid off for Paul and his clients. Now, Paul is a guide out here on Green Bay. If you want to get out and catch some of these whitefish, give him a look. He's a great guy and obviously a fantastic guide. LateEyeSportFishing.com. So now before we go, as always, I want to remind everybody, if you want to win a chance to fish and film an episode of In Depth Outdoors, you go to our homepage, you click on the Dream Trip giveaway, get yourself entered. We're going to be drawing the winner second week of May. So get yourself entered for your chance to win. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
For more info on the latest fish reports, gear recommendations, and hottest techniques, connect with us online at indepthoutdoors.com or follow us on Facebook at In Depth Outdoors. And if you enjoyed today's show, be sure to let our sponsors know.